Hi everyone, Al the Psych here with another video. This one is on musturbating. Okay, you heard that right, musturbating. So this is for informational purposes only. And so, do you masturbate? How often do you masturbate? Has your masturbating gotten out of control? And if so, maybe I can help you if you're up to it. So, masturbation is a term that Albert Ellis used. And it's one aspect of his rational emotive behavior therapy. Okay, so if I'm masturbating, I'm telling myself that I must do something. Now, think about this on a kind of like a spectrum. So if I'm masturbating infrequently, it might not really be, much of an issue. But if I start masturbating very frequently, it could be a problem. And masturbation extends to shoulds and ought tos and things like that. So, um, extreme masturbators, severe masturbators tend to see things in extremes, in absolutes. It's kind of a rigid mindset. So things are, you know, black or white, all or none, big or little. Shades of gray are infrequent. That's kind of where I think a lot of the problem is. So if you have this rigid mindset and things don't go your way, now you may find yourself dealing with anxiety, stress, maybe beating yourself up, being, that self-critical voice that can activate. So it can be a real issue. Here's some must statements like, I must get an A on this test. I must become a doctor. I must or should get a boyfriend or girlfriend. I must get married. I must strike out this batter. And then usually there's another component to the statement. I must become a doctor or I'll be a failure. So you see how that it goes. I must strike out this batter, or I'm going to let down the team, or I'm worthless pitcher, or, whatever the sort of internal monologue might be going on there. And must statements can be applied to other people. The example I think is like parent to child, like, my son must get into Stanford. Can you imagine the dynamics that are probably going on between, the parent and son, and the level of pressure that the son may be experiencing if he hears that from a parent. Okay. So, like I said, severe levels of masturbation can lead to increased levels of anxiety and depression. Now, here's a title from an article. It says, the title is Reeling from Suicides. College athletes press NCAA. This is a crisis. At least 5 college athletes have died by suicide in recent months, sparking calls for more support from the NCAA. That's an article by Molly Hensley Clancy, if I'm reading that correctly. And I took a quote from it, and it says, scholarships and spots on teams can hang on individual games and meets. Coaches and athletic departments paid and funded based in part on how athletes perform and lean heavily on the young people that they are tasked with overseeing. So can you imagine that, that high stress, this high stress that could lead to incredible masturbation? And then that in itself can lead to catastrophizing, seeing in the future, like, this will be just awful if I don't do it. And then, a rating of themselves, like, I would be worthless if I didn't win the race, or, whatever particular sport they happen to be in. So that's a real concern. And I'll follow this up in with an article or a research article that I read. It was a Chinese study, and it was on what they called psychological strain and suicidal ideation in athletes. And I guess there's several different levels or types of psychological strain, and one of them is called aspiration strain. And this is the discrepancy between one's expectation and reality. And, so the athlete's expected to do this or expecting themselves to do this and don't, then all of a sudden they're kind of, hammered with that discrepancy. And in my mind, I could see this obviously generalizing to life in general, outside of sports, but in terms of, just school achievement, job achievement, family life expectations, things like that. So that's where masturbation can lead to. Okay, not going to make you blind, but it can definitely, kick up the anxiety level and depression level. So that's it for masturbation. At some point, maybe I'll talk about how to deal with it, maybe address the rational emotive behavior therapy by Albert Ellis, and see how he might tackle this concern. Okay, so that's it for now.